Welcome to Mark's British Airways Fleet Update, looking at short and long-haul fleets.
Thanks for joining us on the British Airways Fleet Update. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click for notifications.
Hello, welcome to another British Airways Fleet Update from 25,000 feet and a bit less as we're descending just north of Leeds, heading into North Yorkshire. I'm on board one of the British Airways A320 fleet. We're on a flight to Newcastle. Shuttle 12 Zulu is the call sign of this, and it's one of the British Airways Airbus A320s Golf Echo Uniform Charlie. So short trip, booked in economy. British Airways kindly upgraded me to Club Europe, so I'm sat here in 8F. Just had a very nice afternoon tea, cup and coffee to keep me going. And right now I'm going to give you the update across the British Airways fleet.
Now approaching.
Welcome to another British Airways fleet update here on Mark's Trains, Planes and Trams, as I take you through the comings and goings around the short and long haul fleet for British Airways here on the May bank holiday weekend. Lots to have a look at, so let's crack on. The British Airways Cityflyer fleet is where we start each of these updates. No exception today. Let's have a look at the Embraer 190 fleet with Lima Charlie Yankee Romeo under maintenance at Exeter Aerospace. Lima Charlie Alpha Golf has returned from its visit to Saarbrücken RASR maintenance facility. Came back as the Cityflyer 9770 from Saarbrücken to London City on the 29th of April. And sister aircraft Lima Charlie Alpha Delta remains down at Exeter Aerospace, been there since the 17th of April. Remember, it took a slightly odd routing down over 2 days on the 16th and 17th of April, flying from London City to Madrid, back to Luton, and then down to Exeter. If you have any idea what that was all about, do drop me some information in the comments for this video here on Mark's Trains, Planes and Trams. Moving across now to the Euroflyer fleet that operates out of London's Gatwick Airport. Echo Uniform X-Ray Kilo returned from Glasgow with the crew who'd flown another aircraft up. They flew as the Euroflyer 9751 on the 27th of April after the aircraft had been receiving maintenance attention at the British Airways Glasgow facility. And it was Echo, a Uniform X-Ray hotel, that flew up to Glasgow earlier that morning as the Euroflyer 9750. I can also tell you that British Airways have moved Echo, a Uniform Victor from their Heathrow fleet across to Gatwick. It flew over as the BA 9270 on the 30th of April and picked up Euroflyer duties from the 2nd of May with a flight to Jersey and back as the BA 2524, back as the 2525. Not clear if that's an interim allocation or a permanent change to the fleet composition. I think many of you are aware, we've reported previously, Titan Airways have 2 aircraft on wet lease to Euroflyer at Gatwick, Airbus A320 Papa Oscar Whiskey Mike, and it was supported by sister ship Airbus A321 Golf Oscar Alpha Tango Whiskey, and that aircraft has concluded its work for Euroflyer now on the 30th of April and flew back that evening to Luton Airport to assume other duties for Titan Airways. Now, it was intended for them to have a second aircraft, so lower capacity Airbus A320 Papa Oscar Whiskey Kilo had already arrived at Gatwick on other Titan duties, and that commenced the British Airways wet lease with the BA 2642, 2643 out to Malaga on the 1st of May. Moving across to London Heathrow and having a look at the Airbus short-haul fleet at London Heathrow. We've talked many times before on this update about Golf Echo Uniform Papa Romeo in the 319 fleet that's been out at Abu Dhabi since the 6th of January. That aircraft has eventually returned on the 27th of April, routing from Abu Dhabi to Athens to London Heathrow. Two separate flight codes, BA9274 to Athens, 53 minutes on the ground, which is pretty good going, pretty speedy work to get the aircraft fueled and ready for departure as the BA9271 back to London Heathrow, back into commercial service the next morning on the BA342, the 28th of April, out to Nice. Delta Bravo Charlie Alpha returned to traffic after maintenance at Glasgow on the 30th of April on the BA1485, so back into passenger service. They balanced that move with Echo Uniform Oscar, which flew from London to Glasgow the previous evening on the 29th of April, BA1478, and that's now gone into the maintenance facility at Glasgow. Echo Uniform Tango flew the BA9276 down to Malta on the 25th of April for maintenance, and Echo Uniform Whiskey returned the next day from Malta as the BA9277 back into traffic the next morning. Echo Uniform Papa remains at Madrid. It's been at Madrid since the 9th of April for maintenance, and also Echo Uniform Sierra has been at Dublin since the 9th of April, and November Echo Oscar Papa remains at Madrid on maintenance since the 26th of March. Well, a little bit of drama occurred at London Heathrow on the 1st of May with one of the Airbus A319s in the fleet, Delta Bravo Charlie Hotel, operating BA939 from Dusseldorf, actually operating with the call sign Speedbird 3 X-Ray Alpha. Approaching London Heathrow from the east, the aircraft was cleared to approach runway 27 right at Heathrow, and in the later stages of the approach, as is perfectly normal procedure, the flight crew lowered the undercarriage. Now, the undercarriage did lower and it locked into place, but the undercarriage doors on the main gear assemblies did not retract back into the body. They remained open. Fortunately, their open position did not make them foul of the landing gear. The flight crew understood the challenge. They aborted the landing, took the aircraft back up into the arrival pattern. It actually did a number of circuits of the Lambourne hold while the crew liaised with air traffic control and British Airways colleagues on the ground. And after ascertaining what the likely scenario was, they made another approach and landed satisfactorily at London Heathrow, which you can see here on this clip from the very, very good Flight Focus 365 website, which is pretty much permanently featuring arrivals on 27 right or on 09 left. And the aircraft did briefly block the runway. You can also see the emergency vehicles around the aircraft. The aircraft landed safely, no obvious issues from those doors. After a period, it did taxi off the runway, surrounded by a number of blue light vehicles, but that led to the runway being shut for round about an hour, causing a little bit of disruption at London Heathrow. Well, the pilot circuit training continues at Shannon. Echo Uniform Hotel deployed on a slightly longer trip to Shannon, 2 days, 1st and 2nd of May, for pilot circuit training as BA gets stuck into giving those new pilots the required training and competence they need on actual flying, and of course getting those takeoffs and landings in the book is an important part of that. BA9260 on the 1st of May, lots of flights around Shannon, as you can see here from the video, back on the 9261 from Shannon on the 2nd of May. Quick update on new deliveries into the British Airways short-haul fleet. Tango Sierra Bravo had some problems at Toulouse. We think it was hit by a ground vehicle. That will hopefully be ready to come across to Heathrow and enter the fleet soon. Tango Sierra Golf, the next in the sequence. And 3 of the Airbus A321s nearing completion at Hamburg Finkenwerder. On the Airbus A350's X-ray Whiskey Bravo Kilo remains at Malta at the Lufthansa Technik facility, been there since just the 25th of April. And of course, this is the type of work that British Airways want, like 212, cancelled. Well, on the 777 fleet, Sierra Tango Bravo India returned from maintenance at Cardiff BA 9171 on the 28th of April, straight back into passenger traffic that evening to Joburg as the BA 57, replaced by Sierra Tango Bravo Echo, which flew the BA 9174 down to Cardiff for maintenance on the same day. Sierra Tango Bravo Delta 777-300 diverted, as I had just suggested, on the BA 216 from Washington Dulles on the 26th of April. Suspected a bird strike and possible fumes in the cabin. The passengers were transferred on the ground at Boston to an Airbus A380, which continued to London as the BA 216, and Bravo Delta remained on the ground at Boston until the next day and then flew back Boston, London Heathrow as the BA 9609. I think there was some attention required to that aircraft as it spent a few days out of traffic at London Heathrow, but resumed normal operations on the BA 113 to Kennedy on the 2nd of May. Victor India Whiskey remains at Cardiff for Club Suites fitment. It is dragging on a bit, that the last of the Heathrow fleet to be fitted with Club Suites was expected back in traffic last week, clearly not ready. Yankee Mike Fox diverted to Jeddah on a Mauritius to Gatwick flight on the 30th of April, the BA 2064, and after about 2 hours on the ground it continued to London Gatwick. Yankee Mike Echo flew from London Heathrow to Gatwick after maintenance on the 27th of April, resuming its commercial duties as part of the Gatwick long-haul fleet the next day. Well, across the British Airways Dreamliner fleet, the 787s, I can tell you Zulu Bravo Kilo Lima remains at Abu Dhabi for maintenance. Zulu Bravo Juliet Bravo remains at Cardiff BA maintenance, suspecting that one will fly back to Heathrow very, very shortly and re-enter traffic. Zulu Bravo Juliet Echo fitted with Club Suites after quite a long time in storage at Cardiff, flew back as the BA 9177 on the 28th of April and then got stuck in on the following day to its first revenue flight in nearly 10 months. The BA 95 across to Montreal. I had suggested in a previous update that aircraft might need a test flight, but that turned out not to be the case. Zulu Bravo Juliet Golf remains at Cardiff. We think it's there for Club Suites fitment, although it did fly down after 3 weeks of inactivity, so there may possibly be some work required on that aircraft beyond the Club Suites fitment. Zulu Bravo Juliet Foxtrot is expected to make its way to Cardiff for Club Suites fitment once Golf Victor India Whiskey is released from its Club Suites work. Zulu Bravo Kilo Foxtrot on the 7879 fleet did a surprise little rotation to Barcelona and back on the BA 480-481 on the 1st of May via short-haul Airbus, but it was nearly 3 hours late. And 78710 Zulu Bravo Lima, that's the last of the British Airways fleet to come with Rolls-Royce engines. That's emerged from the Boeing facility at Charleston in South Carolina, BA livery of course, with its UK registration applied. Credit to Boeing SC Spotter on the X channel for flagging that up. Well, one of the things that's really driving the 787 availability and performance is the Rolls-Royce Trent engine. Trent engines are something that Rolls-Royce are very keen, I think, to resolve, and they mentioned this in a trading update to the financial markets on the 1st of May. They've said their time on wing initiatives for the Trent 1000 and other Rolls-Royce engines are progressing to plan. They told us the certification of the new HPT blade for the Trent 1000, which will double the time on the wing for this engine, is expected in the coming weeks. And Rolls-Royce report they're on track to deliver a further 30% time on the wing improvement for Trent 1000s and 7000s by the end of the year. Now, I have to say these developments don't guarantee that Rolls-Royce is in a position to rectify the supply chain challenges which result in British Airways parking up its 787s awaiting new engines or repairs to existing engines, but hopefully they will help. Those are the 787 Dreamliners unavailable for traffic at present that are stored in the longer term, but it is a slightly better picture than we've seen in many weeks previously. Wow, that just about wraps up this British Airways fleet update. I hope you found it useful, and it's an opportunity for me to say thanks. Thanks to everyone for watching this fleet update, especially grateful for those of you who like the video on YouTube and those who engage with a comment or further information. Thanks to the amazing people who contribute to the Flyer Talk British Airways forum for their hints, their tips, their information, their pointers for deeper research for me. Check out Flyer Talk for the latest information, the latest updates and discussion on all sorts of things BA. If you just do a Google search for Flyer Talk British Airways, it will take you to a number of links across the Flyer Talk British Airways community. And I'll catch you here on Mark's Trains, Planes and Trams for another British Airways fleet update very, very soon.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe and click the notification button so you don't miss any of the great trips Mark has coming your way on this YouTube channel.